That just takes me back to my childhood right there.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I love that. MacGyver.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to First Dibs.
I hope everybody caught our shows from earlier last week, later last week, or whatever, the last week. We had a couple extra episodes. So thank you to Lee Keen.
Yeah.
To Christian and Ortrud for coming in with their World Tour, GT3 RS Twins Tour. Lee, really appreciated sitting down and chatting with you about kind of your racing career and everything, and the wild safari cars that you're building. And then we did a live pit walk.
Yeah,
we auditioned for Sky Sports. We think I think we have a career in that.
I think we nailed it,
at least for hill climb. I need to get out of my own way.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we talked to really cool people, but I did all the talking. So, to those of you that I interviewed, I'm sorry. I'll do better next year if you give me another chance. But we had somebody from Porsche.
We had Steve. Yeah, Steve from Porsche. We had Rob Holland.
Yeah, we had Sterling, the cowbell guy.
Yeah, the Frobel guy.
Yeah. We had Felix, our new friend from China.
Yeah, Porsche China.
We had Fred and Jason.
That's right.
Cam Ingram.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. The Flying Geeze's son.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, and Lewis. Lewis had like the best intro
Lewis
ever.
had a WWE intro.
That one caught me totally by surprise. Yep. So that was really fun.
Yeah. Lou from...
Yep.
What's his race team? He's from Texas.
Right? Lou Racing.
Lou's Racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
then our group.
Yeah. Well, and we talked to Eric from Axe in the Oak.
Yeah.
It was an epic.
That was a lot of show.
Oh, and of course Joe. We got him on mic because he wasn't representing the dealership.
Yeah, he was for Brumos.
He was working with Brumos on that
good.
day. But again, just huge congratulations. To David Donahue for setting another record in Time Attack 1, fastest Porsche up the hill ever. Is that right?
That's our understanding.
Was it 9 minutes?
18 seconds, .053.
Wow.
Is the official timing. Give or take 5 thousandths.
Right. And I still, like to tell people that from the start line to the summit, the average family caravan will take about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're doing it in less than 10.
Yep.
Right? So,
pretty good.
That's pretty amazing. But that was a ton of fun. And I'm the only one that didn't get completely sunburned.
Yeah, because you left early.
I didn't leave early.
You left early. When I got back, you weren't there. I don't know. Everything had been packed up.
Right.
And yeah. Lewis was sitting all by himself on a love seat. Like, I used to have friends. I don't know. Right. But so thank you to everybody, the people we saw up the hill. Love that. If you want to go next year, please do. Let us know how we'll set up base camp for more.
Yeah, I felt really bad because we had some clients from Tucson, and they just recently purchased a racing yellow GT4 from us, and then they made a special trip back to Colorado Springs to do the hill climb, and kind of some scheduling. Scheduling was fine, but there were delays with flights and things like that, so they wound up not getting in town until super late Saturday night. That wound up having to catch up a little bit of sleep Sunday morning, and so they didn't get to the hill until after 10 o'clock. And you can't get in at that point. Yep. So they just got turned around. So that was a bummer.
Bummer.
Although they came back here to the dealership to look around, do some Sunday shopping, look inside. And, the doors aren't open, right? But to at least peer through the windows to see what's here. And they wound up running into some of our, very fun local clients here. And ironic, both of them have places not too far outside of Tucson. So... yeah, they made some new friends, with a couple of our clients to where they're going to meet up, here in the next coming weeks or so and get together, go to dinner, do something. But
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's
super
great.
cool. Kind of random.
Putting people together. That's what we do. Yep.
Right.
We should do business.
Oh, that's right.
Because I think we're like a month behind on business.
Yeah.
And I don't have any notes. So this is going to be
We got to wing it.
pretty poor. I remember seeing a GTS 4.0 Boxster.
Oh, yeah.
Agate gray.
Yep. Traded in by father-son team.
Yeah.
They were visiting from...
For the hill climb.
Yeah, they came from North Dakota. And they wound up acquiring a Arctic Gray GT4 RS. They came in to look at a 356
Same idea.
because they think they're cool.
Yeah.
And then they wound up seeing their two ultimate cars in the color that they want. And yeah, they traded in this amazing GTS 4-liter, which is awesome. So anyway, congratulations to them and us for being able to get the GTS here. So that one,
It's like a Boxster Spider Touring.
correct.
One button top,
Yeah.
little softer suspension.
Yeah.
Just great car.
Oh, it's a great car.
400 horsepower.
Yep. What else did we have? We got a
Actually, it's 394. I just want to make sure anybody fact checking me doesn't get too upset.
we got a 2016 Carrera Ford GTS Coupe that is an agate gray.
Yeah, 430 horsepower.
That's a pretty sharp car, right?
3.8 liter motor.
Nice.
Those are more snarly
They are.
than the new ones. They've got like almost a looser feel. I
Yeah.
think they're like hot rodded rather than being just race car precise.
Right.
Love them.
That's a super cool car. Another car that landed just the other day is a Volcano Gray Taycan.
You don't want to talk more about the GTS? It's a Carrera 4 GTS.
That's what I said.
I know, but I wasn't listening. PDK car,
PDK.
black leather interior with Alcantara seat centers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 18-way or the 4-way, but they are the sports seats with the extra bolstering.
Yeah.
Little extra ducktail on the back. Looked like maybe a Vorsteiner carbon tail or
Yep.
something like
Think
that.
you're right.
That was a good looking car. That's kind of everything you need in a car.
It is.
I
yeah.
think.
It's pretty. It is pretty fantastic. Good sound, good feel, good look.
Okay, that's enough. Volcano Gray.
Volcano Gray Taycan Turbo S non-Cross Turismo,
Yeah. That's
which
a
is
badass
super cool.
looking car.
It is super cool looking.
Yeah.
It is super cool looking.
They look, when you've been around the wagons for a while, the sedans look slammed.
They do.
You know, just that little, whatever, 20 millimeter drop.
Right.
That'll do it.
Yeah. This one came out of Washington.
Probably a Microsoft CEO.
It
or
might be
executive.
Bill Gates' car.
That could be Bill Gates. That could be his personal. Yeah. Think about the contacts that you could have in that PCM system.
Right.
You know,
Well,
probably
fortunately-
Melinda Gates,
Yeah. Right.
probably the Obamas,
Right.
Oprah for sure. Come on, that's worth the price of the car right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're selling Oprah's number, everybody.
Exactly. It's only 200 grand.
Yeah.
Throw out a number,
right.
200
It's-
grand.
Yeah. Pretty easy.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, that is a super cool car. What else? 2021.
GT Silver,
Yep.
911 Turbo S.
Coupe.
Yep.
That's a cool car.
Yeah, I think that's black interior. I think it had front lift.
I believe so.
Just a epic.
Yeah. Super well optioned from what I remember. I think it's got Burmester.
Yeah.
No, that's a really, really cool car.
Yep.
And what else has landed? There's been stuff.
I know.
It's
There's
just been-
well, we can't talk about that one. Let's hear it. 2008
Oh, yeah.
911 Turbo Cabriolet in Guards Red
That's cool.
with Guards Red stitching.
Yep.
Guards Red center console.
Yep.
Guards Red sports seat backs.
Manual transmission, did you
Yeah,
say?
manual. Yep. That's and like 16,000 miles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
We call that a winner. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Ding. So that's a cool car. I don't know anything about it other than I saw it you know, for a little bit today.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah,
We'll figure out
excited to learn more.
how to do our job. again.
Right.
Is that it? I think that's a good.
Is that business?
2022 Cayenne GTS in Carmine Red.
That's right. Yeah.
I have a place for that one.
That's good.
I gotta work. That's not a bad thought.
Just got a brand new windshield.
Yeah, how great!
Yeah.
You need a windshield.
Yeah. Speaking of
important.
getting like new stuff put on, so during the hill climb, we use trucks and trailers to move race cars
Yeah.
around up and down the mountain, which gets a lot of use. And currently, our F-350 dually is in the shop after coming down the mountain with no fuel in it, basically.
You're not supposed to do that to a diesel.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to do that. So the operator thought that the thing to do would be basically just turn it off, like, and put the key in the on position.
All right.
And use the brakes coming down. So keeping in mind you have a trailer and a race car behind you. One, let me just start out by saying everybody's okay, right? They're here. Yeah. The truck made it back. The race car made it back. The passengers inside the truck made it back. The brake, this is crazy to me, right? I've never heard of this happening. But the F-350 now has new front brake calipers.
That's important.
It has obviously new brake pads and rotors all the way around. The brakes in the rear got so hot that the valve stem caps melted.
Wow. That's good. That's impressive.
And that's not something that's like leaning on the brake rotor, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's out away from it for a little bit.
So do you think it was radiant heat from the brakes? Or do you think the brakes heated up the wheels?
Does it matter?
Well, yeah, I'm just curious.
So from what I heard is that the brakes actually kind of went out right about the exit of Pikes Peak. And
it's only downhill the rest of the way.
Correct, right? So you're thinking like, wow, that's pretty impressive, right? So used trailer brakes to manage the truck, getting it down. And then obviously it had enough fuel from the time that they stopped going downhill to get it back to the dealership. So, they managed, right? Fortunately, there was an individual, in controls that at least knew enough, to get it back to the dealership safely.
I'm amazed and speechless.
Isn't that wild?
That one. That's incredible.
Completely wild. Yeah. I thought that's absolutely
Where was the
incredible.
guy at Glen Cove checking brakes?
They're not there in the morning because you're all professionals.
Yeah, I guess. And also they started from below that. Right. So we'll give them a pass.
Insane though. Melted the valve stem caps. That's so crazy. I've never heard of that happening. So anyway, but in the process, it's being serviced. It's getting new turbocharger installed. It's having a lot of work done to it.
Yeah,
it just
hot rod it.
Yeah,
it's called Gale Banks.
This 350 has been a fantastic vehicle for us. It's got 156,000 miles on it, and 155 of those it's had a trailer hooked up to it.
Vertical.
So.
Have been vertical.
So that's pretty cool. But anyway, so glad all that stuff worked out. And then fortunately, we had the right kind of inventory in-house to be able to manage a couple other trailers. Our GMC.
So long story short, don't buy a pickup truck from us unless you're okay with it.
Not true.
Unless race use is okay. Never been tracked.
Yeah,
it's never been tracked.
The F-350 is not for sale. The GMC that we're selling, that's actually a super cool truck.
It's a great truck. Yeah.
It's fantastic. They said that thing did amazing. They put it in the tow haul mode.
Yeah.
Said it did unreal. And they said it was almost like too sensitive as far as protecting itself. So they said the chances of you actually, doing any harm to the truck, hauling it, is like, there's just no way it can be, just because, they realized they didn't know that it does have a tow haul mode in the beginning, and then when they discovered that, they said, "Holy crap!" The pickup changed completely. As far as the transmission and the cooling temperatures and all that kind of stuff. So they said, "Man, that stuff works."
Don't Cayennes go into a tow haul mode automatically if you plug in a trailer?
I believe they do. Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's no button.
Yeah.
Right for it, but they recognize if there's a trailer hooked up. But anyway, so that was cool. The guys did a great job.
Yeah.
And then that actually lets the technicians. So now that the hill climb stuff is all done, it's letting the technicians kind of get back to normal daily business, which is getting our cars through the reconditioning process.
Getting my car through the reconditioning process.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then I noticed we've had a client's personal GT4 race car here since before the hill climb. It got here right before all this stuff started. So unfortunately, it just kind of had to be put off to the side for a bit. Anyway, Jason, like 2 days back into the grind, figures out all the problems that this car has, takes it for a drive, get it back to the customer here before too long. Just kind of go about the daily routine stuff. But I'm glad you mentioned your car, John.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
You got to drive it.
I did get to drive
I got to drive it. Anybody got to drive it. So people that have listened for a long time, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but I have a 1971 Volvo 1800E that I've had for probably 20 years. It used to be white and have a big dent in the back, but run. And then I took it all apart, had it stripped down and painted black, and then put it back together, and it didn't run. So it's a hot rod. It's got, different forged pistons and lightweight flywheel and valve work and head work and bigger valves and all kinds of stuff. But I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know how to. I could get it most of the way there, and then we moved here, and that was a decade ago. And
Right.
But now Alfred took some time out and did a fluid change for me, and it drives, and we've been able to tune it a little bit.
Right.
It runs an aftermarket fuel injection system.
Right.
So
Mega Squirt.
yeah. But man, it like breathes new life into the project.
Oh, for
just
sure.
being able to drive it. So what did you think?
I think it's cool.
It's kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, I think it's super cool. And like we were talking with Colby right before we started here, is that being here, we're able to see, promise, in cars. We're
Yeah.
able to see progress, how things are going. And it's like, how interior designers, interior decorators, they envision things, right? They can see the final product.
Yeah.
I can't, right, when it comes to that type of thing. But when it comes to the car side of it, that's my, that's what I can see. It can see all the potential that it has and where it can end up and what the final product will be like. And I mean, driving it around Motor City here, the thing's awesome.
It's kind of fun.
It's super cool.
Yeah. Needs wipers.
Needs wipers. Yeah. Got my shirt dirty wiping off the windshield.
Yeah. That was dumb. But hey, it's
super cool.
That's the furthest it's been driven in a day since I bought it.
That's wow.
So,
holy moly.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it looks cool. I think,
Yeah.
I was talking with Jason about it a little bit ago. And he and I agreed, leave the exterior the way that it is.
Yeah.
There's no reason to touch anything on the outside of
Yep,
the car.
I agree.
It's just super cool. It's it's menacing, it's just kind of sinister looking car. Sounds good. But yeah, I mean, there obviously, like you say, there's some fine tuning to do in a couple.
We want to get rid of the like grinding noises. It'd be good if it didn't bottom out as hard as it does. Little things like that.
Yeah, it'd be good if it had a tachometer.
That's true. You nailed a 7,000 RPM shift just off ear. That was pretty good. So, yeah.
No, that's super fun. So we'll definitely have to keep everybody updated on how that's going. And then speaking of kind of like older generation black cars, we've got a car here. We've talked about it before. It's been on the lot for a while because it's been kind of a project car for us. But it's a 1985 928S. And this car has been getting a lot of attention here for a couple weeks. And I think it's just great timing, really with the generation of car, because more and more people are understanding what it is. But people are starting to discover, more about where it came from, the whole idea behind it. And you'll notice the description that we have on our website mentions that the 928 was supposed to replace the 911. I think that's that's amazing, right? And something I left out of the description, I had a sentence in there for a bit, but I decided to remove it. And it was, could you imagine a car culture today without the 911, but with 928s instead?
How much would a 1970 911S be worth then?
A lot.
Or a little. Or would everyone be like, stealing is
not
stupid?
Yeah, I mean, but the 928 would continue, would have continued to evolve. And maybe that would be the greatest sports car on the road today. I mean, who knows, right? So I think it's an interesting deal. And so John and I were talking before the show on something that we could possibly, put on the screen for people to see. Just, I mean, these cars, they did go through an evolution.
Yeah, and this 85 is the first year of the S.
Of the S.
This is kind of that swing. It went from a 4.7 to a 5-liter motor, and this is when it got 4 valves per cylinder.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
It's very cool. This one happens to be a manual transmission. They call this one a dog leg, right? So the reverse gear is all the way over to the left and up, and then your first gear is actually just below that, right? So over and down. which trips people up. Right? You know, if you've never been in anything like that, it's just kind of a weird feeling shifting into second when we throw it up into what would normally be third, you know, for a lot of people. So I think that's kind of fun. It just adds to a little bit of the car's character. I mean, huge advancements they had made with this car. It was really ahead of its time when it first came out in the 70s. I mean, they had stuff going on that people just couldn't comprehend, really. You know, things that you hadn't seen in car. I mean, some of these cars, an option came with tire pressure monitoring. It was called RDK. I don't know what RDK stands for, but anyway, it was tire pressure monitoring. They had onboard computers on the instrument cluster. Actually, would have looked very MacGyverish, you know, in the instrument cluster with the displays that they had there. True four-seater. One of the options was a extended air conditioning system. So the larger AC system, all they did was that they upped the size or the amount of refrigerant that you could put in the system. They didn't add. I think I take that back. There may have been an additional evaporator. That was kind of, you know, towards the rear, because the rear seats in the larger AC cars have their own vents. They don't have any of their own controls, but there's actually just more airflow.
A little air helps.
There.
Yeah.
Aluminum fenders, so don't lean on them. You will put some big old gnarly dents in the fenders pretty easily on this car, and that's hard to fix. Anti-braking differential ABD, they still use that in cars today. It was this electronic, kind of like an electronic limited slip, basically. I mean, just really cool stuff. And the 928s ended with the GTS model. I mean, that's, you know, we love the GTS model. And I mean, holy cow. So 928s were really expensive when they came out for their time frame. GTSs were $100,000 car in 1994. That's
the money.
$100,000's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Anytime, right? But in 1994, that's a boatload of money. And 928 GTS is still $100,000 car and more, just because, I mean, there's
they make like 28 of them.
No, they made a few of them. But, you know, finding a manual transmission, and most 928 GTSs were really well taken care of. They're in a very expensive car, but they drive amazingly well. I want to say that 350 horsepower. In the GTS, in the way we say, you know, 350 horsepower just below your right foot. So, I mean, you could steer the car through the side window, you know, just let it hang out there. Just let the rear end come around, and you got big side windows to see through. So, I mean, really fun. I mean, definitely a grand touring car. You know, if you want to hop into a car and drive from Denver to LA, you know, averaging 100 miles per hour the whole way, you can do that in a 928, and it does a great job. I mean, mechanically speaking, they've actually been a really, really very reliable car that way. The flip side of that is where they weren't really so evolved was all the electronics, and then the enormous vacuum systems that run through the car. So that's another thing that I've, told people for many, many years. If you want a super reliable, very dependable car to get you from A to B, a 928 does a great job of it. But if you need anything to work right inside, the 928 may not be the car. Like the radio may not come on. The window might roll down, but it may not roll up.
You just got to keep wiggling the switch.
Some of them.
That's what worked on ours.
Yeah.
Is it went down just fine. Yep. Then I thought I broke it. But if you just lay on the switch and kind of give it a little,
drive it around while you hold the switch.
Yeah, that could help.
The sunroof may or may not open. The odometer may or may not start working. So that's actually kind of interesting. The cluster.
Yeah.
So the steering wheel and instrument cluster housing is this big,
they
giant
move together, right?
Brick. Yeah, they're tied together, so that whole console raises and lowers. It's a tilting steering wheel assembly. It doesn't telescope, but when you tip the steering wheel, the entire cluster box moves with it, which is really fun. But there's just, some really quirky things, and vacuum lines galore, running through it. So there'll be times where the air conditioning is not working, and that's because a vacuum, piece failed.
Weren't you saying there's for a while they only used one color of wire?
There's plenty of cars out there. Actually, John's got a picture up here. I don't know if it'll.
This is from Car and Driver.
Okay, that should work. So in the passenger footwell area there, that's actually where the main fuse panel and relay panel is. So that carpet pulls down, and then there's a piece of wood, right, from the forest that they milled and placed down there.
Okay.
And that protects it because that's what your feet are resting on.
Yeah.
And anyway, when you pull that piece of wood out, there's this massive fuse panel, relay panel that takes up that whole passenger floor area. And some of those cars, if you were to take that fuse panel assembly and pull it back, every single wire running there is white. Now, it's not a white wire running all the way, to the actual component. It was just on the back side of the fuse panel was white wires. So, and I've seen that. I've personally seen that where it's like, oh my God, what do you do here? Well, fortunately, that assembly has always held up really, really well. Relays can go out, it's an older car. So there may be like a starter relay that you need to do, or a fuse could blow, right? Something like that. But that part of it was actually pretty reliable. But there's vacuum lines, behind the center console for the air conditioning system.
Look at that motor.
That's impressive.
God, that's cool.
The vacuum lines are all color coded, which is kind of nice.
That's great.
So you know where they go.
Yeah.
And me, like an idiot, when I was trying to diagnose an air conditioning system once many, many years ago, I basically removed like the whole center console so I could get to this one big giant like vacuum, valve assembly that was behind. It's this big rubber vacuum line that's probably, 8 inches long, and it's got about 6 or 8 ports.
It's like the aorta.
Right, yeah, and it's got all these multiple ports in it, and then color-coded vacuum lines. And the idea was, well, I'm going to start hooking up my vacuum gauge, to each one of these lines one by one, and then test and see where I cannot pull a vacuum, and then I know that either that line or there's a diaphragm at the end of the line that's leaking, and I'm going to have to go chase that down. Well, so as I'm pulling this console out, which is not the easiest task, right, to get to access all this stuff, Todd, my shop foreman at the time, he comes over, hey, buddy, what you doing? Right? I said, working on this effing 928, trying to figure out the AC system. He says, oh, let me guess. You're chasing vacuum lines. Yeah. He goes, here's a trick. All those vacuum lines run underneath the driver's dash or driver's knee bolster. He says, cut them. They're vacuum lines. And then just reconnect them with vacuum, like rubber vacuum lines. I wanted to punch him in the nuts. Because he saw me pulling this console, but I was young, right? He's like, no, you got to learn it, and if he figures it out, great. If not, well, he came over and taught me the trick.
Well, then it's totaled.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, you talk about changing your life, right? So ever since then, it's like, oh, go underneath the dash. It's almost just snip them all at the same time and then just start testing them out. But, yeah, I was so mad, right? Having to put all that stuff back together, but I got to find the problem. They're great cars. I would not be opposed to owning a 928 personally at all.
It'd be awesome.
They're a great car. They drive incredibly well.
You need an Alfred in your life.
You do, yeah. You
need to be Alfred.
You got to be super handy.
Yeah.
You should be super handy. But yeah, having an Alfred in your life would definitely help out. And it's, Alfred loves the transaxle stuff. And 928s, they're not the easiest cars to work on. Yeah,
the engine bay looks pretty crammed.
Yeah, it's surprisingly it's not that bad, but there's actually not a lot that goes on in there as far as issues, that will pop up. Intake manifold gaskets, I've seen those fail. But that's kind of a bigger job, but that's not the end of the world, right? Yeah, they're just a super funny. Oh, the picture that you have up there, where the air filter is at the very back of the engine. So it's between the intake and the firewall back there, and then actually there's a mass airflow sensor on the bottom of that, and it's this massively huge round with metal, screen mesh mass airflow sensor. So having that air box out is a very common thing, right? Looking for debris and stuff like that would get sucked back there. It's actually a pretty simple stuff to work on. It is a timing belt engine, so you do have that for maintenance that you got to take care of every so often. And it's just common, like any other car where you're doing a timing belt. People will recommend that you do the timing belt and do the water pump at the same time since you're there, even if it's not leaking. I've never really been a huge advocate of that, but I get why. If you're going to take it apart, just do it once. And it is a massive timing belt, I will tell you. It's one piece, so it is a very, very big belt. So you want to make sure that you do service that when it's needed. And a big warning that I would throw out there for people that are looking for 928s, you got to buy one that's already been pretty well sorted. And the reason, and I guess where I'm going with this is people will, you can go out and find 928s for $5,000, $7,500. And a lot of young people can buy that and say, oh my gosh, I never thought I would own a Porsche. Well, I'll tell you now, if you go buy a 928 for $5,000, $7,500, I can hand you a $15,000 service estimate before even looking at the car.
Yep.
So they were expensive when they're new. They're expensive now. Parts don't get any less expensive, and the labor rate doesn't get any less expensive. Yep. All that stuff continues to climb up. So, there definitely is kind of a cost of ownership, to having the car, but it's super rewarding. 928 owners, they absolutely love these cars. There's clubs, for them. There's registries for them. And it's kind of a shame to see how many of them have just been completely neglected and beat up.
Yep.
But so, although when you find a really nice one, it stands out. Saying, "Oh man!"
At some point, somebody's going to go all Singer on them and just corner the market, buy them all for $5,000,
right?
And then do amazing restorations on them, and then make money.
All right. So anybody that does that from now on, you owe John at least 50% of your
please. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Just give me one.
Yeah.
I'll be your brand ambassador.
Right. And they used to make twin turbocharged kits for these things that people would put in, 800 horsepower, they're putting down. The movie Risky Business, Tom Cruise. So there's a 928, right, that falls in the water or whatever. That exact car, the Risky Business car, came through our service shop up in Denver years and years ago.
The exact car that was in the movie?
The exact car that was in the movie.
Wow.
That they used, that they drove in the movie.
Yeah.
And owner of it was super proud, right, because it's the movie car. It was neglected, badly. Yeah. The thing had baling wire, holding pieces of the front grill on. It was kind of, it's just a shame, whereas in the Porsche Museum has some of the coolest 928s out there. There's a true 4-door 928. It's what would you like, extended cab doors, right? The kind of the suicide thing. True 4-seater where you can actually get in the back seat, easily. You don't have to fold anything forward. That's really cool. That was they made one of those, which is why it's in the museum. But yeah, it's a neat car. And I guess just going back, thinking that was going to replace the 911, that's so crazy to think about. But yeah, who knows what it would be like today, if it really did. That's been the concept from the beginning, right?
I bet it'd be like a Bentley Continental.
Probably.
Which are pretty sweet.
They are pretty sweet.
Little 2-door Panamera.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you find one at Brewster Green.
Yeah.
Those are sweet.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anything away because it's not here yet, but I know there's a Bentley that we're working on, but there's a Bentley that we're getting.
I think it's a 14.
14.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. We'll know more about that one.
Why don't we let's restyle it to be a 928. Maybe that's the right way to go.
Maybe.
Let's just swap the 928 body panels over onto the Bentley.
Right. Yeah.
That might be easier.
Yeah. Get more attention.
I think so.
But super cool cars. They're a ton of fun. So I'd like to, it's whoever gets the 85S that we have here. It's a great car. Just to let you know, we're waiting on one piece for the driver's side mirror.
Yep.
Right. That was coming from Germany. Seems to be taking a while to get here. But outside of that, it's a really good running car. Not everything inside is going to work, like we mentioned. But that really is part of the charm of a 928. They're just cool. It's just a fun car. So anyway.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I think I beat that one to death.
That was good. Well, we were going to try to do a shorter show tonight to let people catch up on the 3 hours of shows that we had
Right.
earlier. So I don't know. Do you have anything else that we should plug? We need to talk a little bit. We've got our next car show coming up on the 15th.
That's right, July 15th.
It's going to sneak up on us because tomorrow is the first Saturday.
That's right.
And ours is on the 3rd.
Third Saturday of the month, so July 15th. Motor City Cars and Bikes. We're still putting a lot of emphasis on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have a couple that does business here, and they have sidecar motorcycles. So I've invited them. I think it would be really cool because just a sidecar motorcycle, I cannot tell you the last time I saw one out
Would they
on the
give me a
road.
ride?
I don't see why not.
That sounds fun.
They enjoy them,
Yeah.
right? And then I was telling Jason here, saying, why don't you bring a bike, to the show, and then bring your Humvee
Yeah.
down.
Put the bike in the Hummer.
Right.
Bring them both down
Right.
and unload them.
That'd be cool. And he said, all right, I'll talk to Kelly.
Yeah.
We'll think about it. And then I had mentioned the sidecar thing to Jason, and I don't know if he knows him, but he's seen it around the Woodland Park area. But there's a guy in their motorcycle community that's riding some kind of a sidecar. It's a Russian-made sidecar. I can't remember the name that Jason told me, but anyway, it's a 3-wheel drive sidecar.
Yeah, I know what it is.
And he said the company's still around.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They still make bikes.
Yeah.
But this one happens to be from like the 1950s
That's
or
awesome.
60s or something. I said, man, stop that guy, right? Tell him you got to bring this thing down to our show. But a 3-wheel drive, right? That means the front wheel is driven too. So not only the back wheel and the sidecar wheel, but the front wheel.
Yeah.
How does that work? Even Jason said, I have no idea how that works.
Probably just chain. It's Russian. It's probably all chains.
What?
It's even they don't even do a shaft over to the other side. It's a chain between them and then a chain back.
Well, and he was saying that the Russians just copied the Germans because there were BMWs that did the same thing. And this was to get around in the boggy, like fields of Russia and Germany and, all this stuff. It makes sense. But yeah, it sounds pretty fascinating. Yeah, it sounds really cool. So hopefully we can get more of that stuff. But I really would. I don't know anything about motorcycles, really. So I think this is just a kind of a great way to get to know more of that culture. And I really think that, a lot of these motorcycle people, not everyone wants to belong to a club. They just want to be able to get out and enjoy their motorcycles, maybe meet some people that also don't necessarily want to belong to a club, but they just like getting out and going for rides. And
It's nice to have an excuse to do something.
right.
That's what I think that's what we wanted to do is just give people an excuse to come out and then go do whatever.
Right.
Go enjoy the rest of your day. And if you want to hang out for 15 minutes and get a coffee, do it.
Yeah, Paul will make it for you.
Yep.
But the show is from 9 to 11. I mean, you're more than welcome to hang out, afterwards. You can, feel free to
do it.
Leave at your own will. But as far as, us, kind of being around, 9 to 11 is kind of our allotted time for it. But it would be cool to see it, keep expanding. Our guys next door, RM Window Tint, I know that they really want to have, something cool.
Yeah, we should
to
put
on
tent
display
down there for them.
Yeah, something. We got to move our PA down there.
I know.
We tried it last
We've got
time. It worked out.
2 weeks to get it down
Yeah,
there.
we'll put on a tent that way if it starts to rain or something. And, but
I love our new PA. We got a PA. We're renting it out for parties and bar mitzvahs.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I don't know how I survived this long without one. I think I said that on air before, but
Right?
what a great thing
It
that
is
is.
super cool. I like it.
Yep.
But outside of that, I can't think of anything else. I mean, we're taking a break from the events.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got
We
anything.
got 2 weeks off.
We've got a little. Yeah, we need a little time off. And our Porsche MI, our compliancy inspection stuff.
Oh yeah.
Is so
We gotta
anyone
clean up. We don't have to clean up.
we don't have to clean up. No,
Okay.
we got a great store, but
No, I mean the office, the studio.
oh
meeting.
yeah, we'll have to break this down.
We
But,
should have them wrap this in mirror tint, so we can see out, but people can't see. It.
That's a good idea.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, I saw you can order online the film.
Yeah.
Like you can put this film on and it's charged.
Uh-huh.
So with your remote, you can turn it translucent.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. I need that for my
Deal.
office.
All right.
So anyway, I just appreciate it. We got our 100th show coming up, so we got to
Yeah.
figure that out.
Oh, that's
Is
a lot
that
of, That's a lot
amazing?
of pressure. I think let's just make next show our last one. let's call it at 99.
Can you believe that 100 shows,
Yeah.
John? We didn't think we'd make it past the first one.
We had to drink a lot back then. Now we can kind of just do this.
Yeah, now we're making it. But anyway, so that's really fun. I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I'll be pretty pumped, to do that. You have to admit, you can pat yourself on the back. That's no small task, buddy.
We sat here. Think about how many hours together we've had. Ugh.
And we're still together.
I know. Yeah. Have you seen that video on Instagram? There's a cat that sniffs yogurt and it just goes like. I just did that in my mouth a little bit. Anyway, for First Dibs Podcast, I'm John.
And I'm Justin.
And these are Dr. My Eyes.
Thanks for listening.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fears without crying. Now I want to understand. I have done all that I could to see the evil and the good without hiding.
And we'll have some kind of...
Hey guys, we're back. Dan and Nancy and Brendan are all here.
Nancy?
Yep. We're doing a little after dark. Nancy's happy to be back on for number 100. I think that sounds fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Maybe we should record people telling us how great we are and just play that back for number 100. Let's find 100 people that think we're awesome. And we'll record
100 people that think we're awesome?
Yeah.
Okay. I bet we could find it.
I think we could do that.
Yeah, we could.
How many people work here? They all have to say it.
6.
Yeah. Okay. How many people get a paycheck from this place? 6 work.
16.
Yeah. I think it's more than that.
Yeah. No, I think we got some. That would be pretty funny. Like have everyone do a little cameo.
Yeah.
Just with their cell phone. Just make a little video and send it to us.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Tell me about the first time you met me, the first time you saw the show, the funniest thing you ever thought I said, why you think I'm an idiot, when the last time you listened was, why you decided to stop listening to our show.
Yeah.
All those are fun.
Was that really you that broke wind when we...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm glad
And then if people don't, we could just make them up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'd be fine too.
Yeah. Maybe we could just get people to video and then we could just dub over what they're saying.
Exactly. This is Nancy. I think you're great. Pew pew. I think that's pretty accurate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that is a big thing. That's actually a really big deal.
Yeah.
So I think so anyway.
Well, it shows that we're committed.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like being in business for 30 years, but it's commitment.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, I missed 1 or 2 Saturdays for vacations. Mm-hmm. And I think you did not for vacation just because you decided not to be here.
Right.
But that's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
But so we have Dan and Nancy and Brendan.
Yep.
Cool. Mm-hmm. 3 people.
Yep. Actually, there's 6 people watching, but only
cool.
those 3 have commented.
Oh, okay.
So identify yourselves, other people.
Other people. Yeah.
The show's over for people that just tuned in. This is just us brainstorming, and we call it First Dibs After Dark. It's usually where things get inappropriate.
Right. Well, just in case, I'll give a big shout out to Emma, Liam, Julia, Krista, and Kat.
That's a lot of people.
They might be watching. They put it up on their big screen at home, which is kind of funny.
We look good on a big screen.
We do look good.
Tell you what.
More proportionate.
I know. And we get, what we should do? Let's buy ourselves mic stands.
I know. We need mic stands.
Because look at how much bigger and taller and better looking I am when I am sitting at my appropriate height and not hunched over.
But look how much more relaxed I am.
Yeah, that's true. Relax is good, but it brings out my dad bod. See if I
the dad bods are in, John.
But if I relax it, look at that.
Look at that.
That angle's pretty good. Yeah, see, I'm a doughboy. But if I lean it in, sit forward a little bit, scoot back in my chair, that's not too bad.
That's pretty good.
Then I can do my Tucker Carlson face.
Let's see. I was going to say, for anybody that's coming into the dealership here over the next month or whatever, it's going to look like nobody works here on purpose. And for Nancy, like, since you're part of the team, I should give a shout out in the whole dealership that, yeah, we got to put away our Porsche Colorado Springs Polos for a while.
Yeah. I told James.
Okay, good. Yeah, just because
they're not in compliance.
Yeah, we lose points. We don't necessarily get in trouble, but we lose points for that.
We need points. We like points.
But anyway, so hopefully we get through that pretty soon. Which reminds me, I'm going to take some of these oil cans out of here. But yeah. Well, that's it. That's all I got.
Is that it? All right. Are we really done?
Is your drink empty?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for staying up late